When it comes to batting talent, the Indian national team has few, if any, equals. But the question will arrive about who the greatest batsmen from India are. And in order to set a standard, we're looking solely at the ODI format. Today, we're going to look at the top 10 Indian batsmen in the ODI format. I have designed this list based on a few different categories. Firstly, we're going to look at the amount of innings the player has played in. The more innings the player's batted in, it shows the player has had a bigger impact when part of the team. And we're also looking at the amount of runs. Of course, the more runs scored, that means the player had a bigger impact on the games that he was playing in. Next, we're looking at strike rate, because we want to have players who are efficient as well as prolific when it comes to scoring. Lastly, we're looking also at average and the combined number of centuries and half centuries. All these statistics should make a pretty well-rounded evaluation of the best batsmen. And before I start the top 10, I want to list some honorable mentions with Suresh Raina, Kapil Dev, and Gautam Gambhir. These batsmen were great, but not great enough to make this list.
At the 10th spot, we have Shikhar Dhawan. Now, he's a current cricketer whose greatness might actually have gone under the radar due to his teammates Virat Kohli and Rohit Sharma. Dhawan has only played in 133 innings, but has already gotten over 5,500 runs at an average of 45 and a strike rate of 94. Dhawan already has 46 combined centuries and half centuries, which means he gets a century or half century every third match he plays in. That is a really good stat for a player who's not played that much. Dhawan was also a big part of the 2015 World Cup team and sadly got injured in the previous World Cup. One could even argue that if India had a healthy Dhawan, they could have probably beat New Zealand in the semi-finals. Like the other players on this list, Dhawan does have a chance to climb up over some time, maybe due to his, hitting his peak.
At the 9th spot, we have Virender Sehwag, a batsman known for his blistering attack and often relenting pursuit of the boundary. This batsman often opened the innings alongside Tendulkar to make a deadly combo. The two batsmen often were subjects of the nightmares of opposing bowlers with their flawless batting. Sehwag managed to collect almost 8,000 runs at an absurd 104.44 strike rate. Even though Sehwag does have a little low of an average at 35.4, his strike rate and his aggressive playstyle definitely makes him a deserving candidate of his spot. At the 8th spot, we have an all-rounder and fielder extraordinaire with Yuvraj Singh. The all-rounder was known as a destructive batsman with the ability to change the match within a few balls. One can argue that the 2011 World Cup wouldn't have been won if Yuvraj didn't have the tournament of a lifetime. Yuvraj had over 350 runs at a 90-run average, with 5 combined centuries and half centuries. Yuvraj, over his career, has also accumulated over 8,500 runs at a strike rate of 87 with over 66 combined centuries and half centuries. The cricketer was a match winner and probably one of the most talented players to ever play for India, and also probably changed the match on many occasions for the team. At the 7th spot, we have a player who could very well end up in the top 3 by the end of his career. Now, Rohit Sharma started off his career as a middle-order batsman, so we're going to mainly look at his success as an opener. Sharma actually got over 7,000 runs in just 137 matches as an opener in the ODI format. Sharma also has the unique distinction of having 3 double hundreds in the ODI format, the only one to do so far. Sharma has also an absurd 49.3 average and over 9,000 runs scored. Sharma's strike rate is also at a respectable 88.92. Looking at statistics and his playstyle, it is almost certain that he'll find himself in the upper half of his list by the end of his career. Just missing out on the top 5 is the controversial ex-captain in Mohammad Azharuddin. Though his career might be forever stained by his match fixing, his talent was and is indisputable. The batsman scored over 9,000 runs with over 65 combined centuries and half centuries. I mean, his stats prove it all. At that time, he had the potential to be the best ever. The batsman may have been able to improve even more if he hadn't been caught match fixing. I mean, who knows? He could have been one of the top 10 players in Indian history, but sadly, it seems unlikely now. Now, at the 5th spot, we have Captain Cool in MS Dhoni. When it comes to middle order batsmen, very few can match up with MS Dhoni. If you ever find yourself down a couple wickets with fewer on the board, then Dhoni is almost always the answer to your problem. Possibly the greatest wicketkeeper/batsman that India has ever had, Captain Cool has carved an amazing resume for himself. Known for his ability to win matches late in the innings and finishing off matches in style, MS Dhoni is possibly one of the greatest captains in cricket history. His greatest moment will always be his match-winning sixer in 2011 Cricket World Cup. He has over 10,000 runs at a 50-run average and at a nice 87.13 strike rate. Dhoni is not only a great captain, but also a great player, and of course, batsman for India. Now, at the 4th spot, we have Rahul Dravid. Now, this might surprise a few people, because Dravid is known to be mainly a test player, but his ODI resume is not bad at all. He has over 10,000 runs at an average of 39.2, and all within 314 matches. The amount of innings and runs proved that he was a mainstay on the cricket national team. One of the hardest players to possibly ever get out, Dravid was known as a wall to many fans around the world. His patience and ability to stay in was always useful and always a key asset when it comes to India winning a match. Though Dravid may have gone under the radar, his spot is definitely deserved. Just making ahead of Dravid is Ganguly. Now, he's definitely one of the greatest left-handed batsmen ever. I mean, his style was both powerful and elegant. He pretty much ruled the offside. Ganguly got over 11,000 runs in his career. He also had a combined 92 centuries and half-centuries. His leadership and competitiveness was always useful for a team that was sometimes lacking in spirit. And him being a left-handed batsman was also a big part of his success. I mean, on a team with very few batsmen. At the 2nd spot for a list, we have the current captain of the Indian national team with Virat Kohli. Now, his resume is pretty much perfect. In over 235 matches, he has almost 12,000 runs at an average of 59.33. His strike rate is 93.25, and he also has over 100 combined centuries and half-centuries. I mean, these numbers would be good for a player at the end of his career, much as somebody who's not even done. Virat Kohli has the potential to possibly end up at number 1 by the end of his career. And his influence also shouldn't be under the radar. His attention to focus and health has influenced other players to stay in shape well past their prime. Similar to players such as Ibrahimovic and Ronaldo, Kohli has stayed fit and ensured that he can last longer than his contemporaries. Now, at the 1st spot, we have, of course, the Master Blaster himself. Now, Tendulkar should come as a surprise to no one because of his insane record and possibly a record even better than that of Kohli's. Tendulkar has over 49 centuries in the ODI format alone. He's also scored an absurd 18,000 runs at an average of 44.8 and a strike rate of 86.23. Tendulkar also has over 145 combined centuries and half-centuries, which is almost 1 every 3 matches that he ever played in. I mean, even the amount of matches that Tendulkar played in showed how valuable he was to the team. His influence is also just enough to put him as number 1. The amount of players and the way that people play that he's influenced is absurd. I mean, look at the current national team and you just see that everyone there has taken their style and their way of playing from Tendulkar, with the elegant shots, the powerful drives, and just the flawless technique. Starting his career at just 16 years old, Sachin left an impact on the heart of every cricket fan with his skill set, and mindset. Now, that concludes our list, and let me know who you think deserves a spot on this list. I mean, I'm sure you make an argument for many batsmen, but tell me who you think it is and why. I want to look at your thing, and I'll try to reply in the comments section. Thank you.